Well, good morning. Welcome back to another scavenger hunt episode. Uh, Before going further, I want to thank everybody for being in the class. I don't always tell you how much I appreciate that, but it just occurred to me. Um, the work you all are doing is I think really good. We've reached a point where everything is running fairly smoothly, actually very well in nearly all regards, and especially the writing, the wrap-ups, the scavenger hunt memos, and the discussion forums are all quite interesting and for the most part more than adequate. All I can say is just keep up doing what you're doing. You've done an excellent job, and I think everybody's going to come out of this with a very nice grade. I will say that in most of my classes, the grades tend to be pretty high. It's related more to doing the work and getting it in on time than it is how brilliant you do the work. I've never had a great bell curve. I have maybe a little top heavy with A's. I have a few more F's than I like, but to get an F in my class, you almost have to work at it. If you do all the work and it gets in on time, I grade pretty liberally, and y'all are doing a good job of doing that. And anyway, I just appreciate it. Moving on to our scavenger hunt. I've only got 4 or 5 things to do throughout today for chapter 4, and actually 4 is somewhat of a continuation. Chapter 3, we're dealing with the Indians, Indian relationships, and the relationships between the various colonizers that came to the New World, and how they dealt with the Indians, and some of the conflicts that they enjoyed with the Indians that were the Native Americans who were already here. If you will, see what you can glean from chapter 4 about let's say the French Indian War. How did that impact, or did that have any impact on our moving toward the Revolutionary War? It was a pretty important event, one way or the other. So if you would like to write about that, we'll whip out a nice little paragraph of about 4 or 5 sentences, and let me know what you think what you think of the French Indian War conflicts, what their impact was on the Revolution. Secondly, if you would, what does chapter 4 have to say about the various arguments for independence? We know not everybody want to go to war against the British. You might be surprised, and I hope you will, if you choose this particular scavenge hunt point. You may be surprised that the fairly large number that did not think it was a good idea. And if you will, how did that impact the Declaration of Independence and the various arguments about independence that went into the Declaration? How would you compare these with colonial arguments, perhaps that took place, in the decade or so before the Declaration? How were things changing? How was the language? How was the attitude about being independent from Great Britain? How was it getting stronger? Was it remaining the same, or did people just not give a flip? What was happening that drove the cry for independence that found its way into the Declaration of Independence? Thirdly, the text talks a little bit about the Proclamation of 1763. Explore a little bit about whatever impact it might have on the relationship between Great Britain and the American colonies. Was it significant? Was it well known? Were people, supportive? Talk a little bit about the Proclamation of 1763 and how it might have moved the war, a little bit closer. Fourthly, what about the background and the details and the outcome of the Boston Massacre? History deals with the Boston Massacre in a pretty important way. I know when I first started studying about the Boston Massacre, I said, wow, it's not that big a deal, and we didn't kill that many people. We didn't drop any hydrogen weapons on anybody. We didn't vaporize entire nations and all that. The body count wasn't extremely high. So why was the Boston Massacre such a significant event? Or was it? How did it change the course of history? Did it? Why did the authors of our history books spend so much time talking about the Boston Massacre? It's really ominous kind of a label, isn't it? Well, anyway, see if you can find out anything about the impact that the Boston Massacre might have had, moving us toward the Revolutionary War. Who knows? Maybe it postponed it. Maybe it made it a lot more imminent. Lastly, what were the responses to George Grenville's colonial policies? Again, we've been talking about the impact of things. We don't like to talk about inevitability in history, but some certain events do have impact. They do change history. They do make it happen, and it's often fascinating to go back and say, "Oh, what would have happened if that event had not have occurred, or this event?" And one of the great jump starters in any writing activity is sometimes to talk about what something isn't, or what would have happened if something had not have occurred. So if you would, if you choose this fifth scavenger hunt item, then delve into Grenville's policies, and were they inducive to making more people in the colonies put them in a war frame of mind, or maybe did they have a chilling effect? If you will, deal with those. And any two of them, a paragraph or so on each one of them, upload it like you would a regular wrap-up. And I'll be waiting here with a great deal of interest to read whatever it is you come up with on your scavenger hunt items. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.